Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala Sayyidul Mursaleen Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Generally, everybody should be, coming for all of the classes. Otherwise, when you miss a session, it's going to be hard. And live classes is much easier to pick up than recorded classes. So just keep that in mind, inshallah, as we go ahead. Today's lesson is going to be about Sukoon, which is a very nice and interesting topic. Right, what Sukoon does is Sukoon actually makes words a little bit longer and easier to make. So when you start learning Sukoon, you can actually be able to read words. You'll be able to, mention. You'll have a bigger vocabulary of words that you'll be using. So that's a good thing, because that means that you will have more exposure to the Quran itself and the reading of the Quran and so on. So Sukoon does that for us. But before I go to Sukoon, I want to show you all an example. Why Sukoon is so important. Alright, so why Sukoon is important is because you can form words. And before we were doing alphabet and we were doing short vowels. And in short vowels, they had just a few words. Okay. So we have some words here. Bahrun. And these are words that we did before. Everybody hearing me? Everybody following? Okay, so here we have Bahrun. Now, if you notice on this ha, there's a what? This little circle here. This is what a sukoon is. A sukoon gives partial sound. Before we were doing short vowels. Short vowels was like the fatha, the kasra, and the dhamma. So if you're paying attention, inshallah, for the last classes, you'll see that we were doing short vowels, and one of the things I said in the last class is make sure and keep it short. Like a sound, a I sound, a U sound. So a, I, U. So when it became like ba fatha is ba. Ba. Now, this here is a sukoon, this little round thing. And we don't make a full sound for a sukoon, it's a half of a sound. So before we were making a full short sound. Like if there was a fatha on the ha, you would say ha or he. If it was a kasra. If it was a dhamma, you would say hu. So ha, he, or hu. This is just the sound. So this is just half of a sound. It's not even a full sound. So when this is bah, you all know this word because we did this word before. This is bahrun. What is bahrun? Bahrun is a what? What is this in the background? The sea. So bahrun is sea. So bah. You notice you're not saying bahi or baha or bahu. You're just saying bahrun. Right? So bah. That's all it's saying to this sound. So the ha is half of a sound. Now, what's interesting about this too, you cannot put this sukoon except with a letter before it or a short vowel before it. So, two rules I want you to learn. Simple, really simple thing to read this sukoon. One, it's half of the sound. It's not a full sound. It's just half of the sound. So, it's a partial sound of the letter. The second thing is there must be a vowel before it for the sound, for this sukoon to appear. So the sukoon does not appear to start a word. It has to have something before it. Let's look at another example. Alright, thu'banun. Say that, thu'banun. Thu'banun. Now, thu'ban is what? Snake. Now, thu'ban, everyone hearing me, right? I'm not hearing much responses from... Actually, let me see what's happening here. 1 second. Okay, my speaker was the wrong speaker. Can you just get a sound check? Anyone from the online class? Okay, just 1 second. Something wrong with my speaker system here. Well, my earphone system actually. I should be hearing you, but I'm not hearing anything. Speaker. Okay. Right. MashaAllah, hearing now. Okay, thu'banun. It's a tha, right? This is a tha, thu'ban. Now, if you notice, the ain has no fatha, no kasra, no dhamma. What does it have? A sukoon. Very good. Now, sukoon means it's a half of a sound. So it's not thu'a or thu'i or thu'u. It's thu'. That's it. Thu'ban. Let me get another easy example. Alright. Alright. Khayl. What is a khayl? Horse. So kha fatha is kha. Ya is what? A sukoon on ya. So it's not a full sound. Now, if it was a full sound, you would have probably said ya or ye or what? You. Is either ya, ye, or you. That's the three vowels we learned. Now, there's a sukoon here, and before it, there's a kha with a fatha. So it's a khaylun, khaylun, khaylun. So you see the examples? It's very simple, straightforward to get this sukoon shape. I see someone has their hands up. You wanna ask a question? No, just hands up. Okay, maybe it was a mistake. Okay, moving on. Let me go back to the next example now, inshallah. Third example, then we go to the book. Okay, do you remember what this was? This is Zaitun. What is Zaitun again? Olives. All right, you can see the olives there. I'm sure you can see the olives. So we have Zaitun. Now look at this word Zay. Zay, za, ya is Zay. Now the ya again is not fully pronounced. It's not ya, ye, you. Is a Zay. Zaitun. Let's see. There's a nice one. What's this word here? Anyone can tell me? Shamsun, right? Now Shamsun has a sukoon on the meme. So Sham, you're not saying ma, you're not saying me, you're not saying mu. You're saying Sham. Shamsun. Okay. So this is a nice example as well. So if you notice now, you can actually say words. Now let's go back to the Sukoon lesson in our books. 1 second. Let me just pull it up. Okay, we have Sukoon here as the lesson 4. Remember, we only did 3 lessons before. We are already on words, now we're on Sukoon. And for those people who were catching up and who was learning with us and who was practicing at home and practicing with everyone, you would realize that you're moving at a really good pace and you're progressing into new things. If you're still having issues and problems, that means you've actually not been practicing. And that's the key to it. I can tell you off the bat that you've not been practicing or spending enough time, because that's one of the key things to gaining this knowledge. You have to practice it. As I mentioned in last class, it's a science of practice. If you don't have the practice part of it, you won't be able to read it properly. So moving here, we have this lesson here, Sukoon. Objective: to recognize as the absence of a vowel, thus allowing the sounds of a letter to be joined. So what it does here, Sukoon, is actually to help join two letters together in the middle, right? In Arabic language, there's a diacritical mark, a mark added to a letter to indicate a special pronunciation called a Sukoon. So we already see how the Sukun is work because I showed you all an example of it first. The Sukun is written above a letter to show that there is no vowel in the letter, and it comes in the shape of a semicircle and also a circle. So two ways you actually write the Sukun. One is that you have a semicircle, and the other way is that you put a circle. I just want to tell the people who are online, remember, if you're talking, mute yourself, please. It disturbs everyone else. And the other thing that the other attendees should do is you can pin my video so then the video doesn't change when someone else talks. So if you pin my video, if you go on my window and you click on it, and thereafter you press the menu, you can press pin, and it will pin my one to be the only screen that you see coming up, and the rest of the people would not come up. So just a reminder for those who are joining and who are looking at the Zoom class. So as I said just now, there's a semicircle, which is a small circle, I mean a half a circle, and there's a full circle you can find as well. It's two ways of writing it. And in fact, I'll show you before the end of today how it looks in the Quran as well, because you generally find the semicircle one in the Quran, which is half of a circle. Next point here, hence, as the Sukun represents the absence of a vowel, we emphasize the letter by stopping in the pronunciation of it. This will require us to join the sounds of letters. Note, a letter which has a Sukun is called Sakin. So when you put a Sukun on a letter, that letter is called a Sakin letter. So sometimes you might hear me saying, this is a Sakin letter. It means that a letter with a Sukun. Okay. Also, for the also for the purpose of this course, the Sukun form written as a circle is used, although Sukun as a semicircle is more popularly written in different texts of the Quran. Okay. Example of it. Before we learned a fatha on a letter gives a short sound, like fatha is a sound, so ba fatha ba, ta fatha ta, so ba ta, ba ta, ba ta, ba ta. So fatha on a ba is ba, and fatha on a ta is ta, ba ta. Say that with me. Okay. Now when you put Sukun, it's just but, but, but. Now we put this as bat, right? Bat in English, right? But remember, we're not learning English, right? This is an Arabic class. We just put it to help you with the sounding, but it's not the actual sound like how we would say bat. Bat is bat. It's a bit more flat and a bit longer in the sound. Bat is a little lengthening to it. Bat. Here is but, but. Okay, ba, fatha, but, but. Okay. So it's not but, it's not but, it's not but, right? It's but. So it's a kind of in between these two sounds. So there's an example here in lesson 4.1. Ab, ib, ub. Ab, ib, ub. Right? Now you see what we did is we put the vowels on the outer letter and we put the Sukun in the following letter. So now you'll have a little bit ease in practicing with different types of sound. So let's do that again. Ab, ib, ub. Now at, it, ut. Okay. Ath, if, uth. Aj, ij, uj. Ah, eh, All right, you remember for this one, for the online class, I'm just pausing you. I'm muting you for a bit, but I want everyone to be saying this out. Okay, say it out loud. I want to mute you a bit because it's kind of a little confusing for some because some of the sound coming a bit delayed. But follow me. Make sure and follow it, because you can hear me clearly. I just don't necessarily have to hear you right now. Okay, so I want you to follow with me and say it, but I'm muting you for a bit. Okay. Ach, ich, och, ad, id, od, ad, id, ud, ar. Remember, this is raw. This is the letter raw. And what we're doing is not fatha, is not kasra, is not dhamma. It's a sukoon. So it's not ra, ri, ru. It's none of them. It's ar, ir, ur, az, is, uz. And that's how, if you master the sounds of the fatha, kasra, dhamma, you would see now words are taking different slants, right? It's actually going to play with your tongue a little bit. And what it's going to do is going to make sure that you are practicing. The sound of it is going to be interesting for your tongue. For people who have not been accustomed to Arabic words, it actually makes your tongue rewrite the ways that it makes shapes of sounds and sounds itself. So your tongue have to actually go through the muscle, have to learn how to move, because it's not been practicing these sounds. These sounds are very unique to Arabic. Some of them are quite close to English as well, but you have to rewrite the muscle, and the muscle needs to build new strengths. Just like anything you're doing, if your muscle not accustomed to it, you won't be able to do it until you build the muscle strong enough to fulfill the need. So for example, if you try archery, for anybody who ever try archery, right? If you're not accustomed to archery, shooting a bow for the first time, your whole muscles needs a new set of form. And you have to build that form over and over with practice to be able to really shoot the arrow with precision and with good strength. So that's something I want to impress on you. Make sure that you're practicing. If you don't practice, your mouth muscles would not get accustomed to the sounding and movements, and it'll be very hard to do. Next one, as, is, us, ash, ish, ush, as, is, us, al, il, ol. Now what I want you to do is, sometimes you have to move up your tongue a little bit when you're starting your lesson, because again, when you're going to work out, right, you should stretch a little bit, make sure the muscles movement is ready to go. So nothing wrong with, there is muscles that you're going to be using in your mouth. You actually have to move it up. Like for example, your lips. I just giving you, this is not normal things that you have to do, but it will actually make your mouth a little bit easier to make the sounds. So you put your lips together, make a popping sound. You'll actually feel your lips becoming a little bit more relaxed. These are actually exercises that teach you when you're doing like speech training, because one of the things you have to do when you're speaking out and you're speaking to large groups, right? You have to be clear, because if you're not clear, people hear you slurring, people not hearing the full extent of the word that you're saying, so you don't realize what people do. But when you're speaking, you have to speak clearly because you need everyone to hear you and listen. So in the same way, there are exercises to try and open up and loosen up your mouth a little bit. Like you do a exercise and open up your gums a little bit. You blow some air and puff it up a little bit, and just stretch out your tongue, pull it up and down. I mean, you don't have to do it in class, but you guys are home. You can do it home. You can do it here, those in class here. The point is, if you find that it's tight on your tongue, you need to relax your mouth a little bit and get it to work. These are little tips, inshallah, to get working and get your tongue moving, inshallah. Right, continuing here, 55, af, if, uf, ak, ik, uk, ak, ik, uk. Now, if you notice, what did I say about the dhamma? How do you make this sound for dhamma? You do a oo sound, and oo means your lips come together to say oo. So, uk, uk, uk. Now it has, you put the oo, and then you say the k sound, the k sound. So, uk, uk. If you look at this example here in 69, um, um, um. Right? Next one, an, in, un. Simple, right? An, in, un. Now this an, in, un, I want you to memorize this now because the next lesson is actually on an, in, un. It's a whole lesson on an, in, un. This breaks away into a whole new vowel for you. So I want you to just focus on this sound, an, in, un. Alright, so let's do this whole line again. Im, I just lost Zoom. Alright, reconnecting. Something caught just now. For this year, this is actually Tanween. For anybody who went through Tanween as well. Tanween. Tanween is a different topic that we'll do. Is a different type of vowel. You know Tanween. Okay, sorry about. Okay, we got cut off just now there. I hope everybody joined back. Let me see how many people missing. You guys are back, right? You can hear me? So don't forget to mute yourselves. We can hear if you don't mute yourselves. Oh, okay. I just realized what was happening here. I don't know. The internet connection went down, so all right. So coming back on to the class here, as we were saying, let's do this line over. Im, then an, in, un. And as I said just now, this an, in, un one, number 70, 71, and 72, we will be doing that next week as a whole lesson. It's an actual vowel that is formed with this an, in, un. So I wanted to make sure that you know that one and just be ready for that next week. I'm giving you a little insight that is going to come up, inshallah. Moving on to the next one. Ow, ew, ooh. Now, actually, this one, you see, there's a box around it, right? There's something special. Just like this one was something special. I told you all that was going to come up next week. This one has something special as well. This is ow, ew. Now, how do you pronounce this? Because this is oo, and that's a wow. Not ew, and that's a wow. So the thing about it is actually ooh, ooh. So it's not ew, because this is ew, this is ow, and this is ooh, because this is a u sound and it's a wow. So it gets a ooh sound. Ooh, say it. Ooh, ooh. Now, ooh is something interesting as well. This is going to come up in, so this is the fourth lesson. This and in on is going to come up in the next lesson, and this is going to come up on the sixth lesson. This is ooh, ooh. So keep that in mind as well. We'll come back to it. Ah, eh, oh. Then a, e, oo. Then I, e, oo. Again, this one as well is similar to this. This is going to come up in that sixth lesson. So here 85, 79 actually, and this one is going to come up later on. I'll discuss it in that class, inshallah. All right, moving on to some other examples for you. Let's practice this sukoon thing a little bit. Id, sal, qum, qad, tub. Right, everyone hearing me, right? Okay, continue in class. You can unmute yourself if you want to know. So, id, right? Id is alif, kasra, and dal. Id, right? Alif, and then mim, sukoon. Then sal, qum, qad, qad, tab, tub. All right. Listen, khud. Now, these are all words, This is Arabic language for you. You're actually learning Arabic words. But first, I need you to learn how to read it before I can actually go to meanings. Now, we did do a little bit of meanings in some of the words that we did before. Like, for example, this is da. Da means to stop, to leave. Leave it. You know, like like somebody's doing something and you want them to stop. You say da, leave it, leave it. Don't do it. Khud. Khud means to take it. So if I tell you khud, it means take something, right? Sal means to ask. So if I say sal, ask, you know. If I say kum means what? Stand. All right, so all these things are words. These are all other words, but these have like more vague meanings, like or is a preposition or something like that. If, when. This is like tub. Tub means to ask for forgiveness. Tub, to ask for forgiveness. All these kind of words. Hal means like what? You're asking a question. All right, I want to go to a little bit bigger words. You'd see how it actually comes into play when you're reading words. For example, number 27. Kun, tum. Now this whole thing is a syllable here. Now, kaf, noon, kun. So kaf, noon, dhamma, right? So noon is the sukoon here. So kaf, noon is kun, tum, kuntum, kuntum. All right, let's try this one. Kaf, dhamma, ku, shin kasra, shi, kushi, kushi, ta, fata, ta, kushita, and then ta sukoon, a t sound, right? So kushitat, kushitat, kushitat. This one is a wa. This is a hamza here, right? So wa is a like a alif or hamza with a sukun. So is less than a sound. So it's a kind of jerk sound now. Wa 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 more wa more wa more. So this means and command and give a command, right? What more and give a command. And these are again all words from the Quran, right? Next one, yash rab, yash rabu, yash rabu, yash rabu. That means he will drink. Yash rabu. Let's go to bigger examples now. Let's try to jump even further. Right? Because when you see it in big words, then if you can do a big word, that means you can do the smaller words for sure, right? Okay. Now these are same words that we did in some of the passages, in the practice before when we were trying to recognize the letters. And like one of the things I want you to note, if you were not practicing your letters, then this will be hard for you now. Really, really, really hard. Right? You'd be like, wow, this thing looking like Greek. Well, it's not Greek, it's Arabic. Right? So each one of these little things here is a letter, and that's where recognition of letters comes about. So for some people, when I ask them, can you tell me what letters are these, they kind of get stumped because it's very hard to recognize the letters because they're not sure. Now if you were recognizing letters and you were practicing your recognition, you'll know which letters are these. So now to put the voweling would have been an easier step because you would have been practicing with vowels, and now you're gonna put another vowel which is a sukoon, and it'll be a whole word you're reading. So let's read it. Let's break it down together. There's a fa fatha fa. Then what? Sin fatha sa. Sa fa sa. Yah fa sa yah. Because it's a ha after the ya, right? So fa sa yah. Shuruhum. فسيحشرهم 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 فسيحشرهم. Right now, فسيحشرهم means so soon. فسيحشرهم soon they will yahshuru gather them. So it's a whole sentence in itself in Arabic language. There's an interesting thing about Arabic language. You can actually make whole sentences in one of the sentences in a word. Right? So this is فسيحشرهم فسيحشرهم. Right, next one.